Hey, it's Ryan from upfitsupply.com, and in this video we're going to be installing a Legend UpStep RS3 on our Ford Transit van. Let's get started. Okay, Legend does provide an installation guide for this product. It's actually going to be a QR code on the box that you're going to scan. You can download, print it off. Make sure you reference this for the ultimate source of information. Of course, we're doing our best to follow this as well. So just a little bit of bench prep before we get underneath the vehicle. First, we're going to attach our step module to our bracket. So this step is going to be universal between the Ram ProMaster, Mercedes Sprinter, and Ford Transit. Then there's going to be vehicle-specific brackets that allow this to integrate with the van. And so these are the brackets for the Ford Transit. Now, one thing I want to point out is that these are actually cut in stainless steel, but when you get them, they're going to be steel powder coated black. It's going to match all this material right here. Legend just wanted to get us a sample product as soon as possible, so they cut it out of stainless and didn't have to do the painting because of the material and all of that. So just take that into consideration. So this is the orientation of these brackets. First, we're going to have our inboard brackets. These are going to be towards the center of the vehicle. These are going to mount on the back of this step right here, and they're going to go in this orientation. This is going to be forward, rear. Then we're going to have our outboard brackets that are going to look like this, and these are going to mount to the front or outside of this frame right here, and these are going to integrate kind of with the rocker panel on the van. So we're going to go ahead and attach these brackets to our step first before we get underneath the van. So we'll start here with our outboard brackets. So our outboard brackets, this face is going to be pointing towards the outside of the van. They're going to be on the inside of this bracket that's built into the step like this. So we're just going to take our 3 included hex bolts and 3 lock nuts and attach this. I'm just getting these hand threaded, and I'm going to tighten them up a little bit. We still do want quite a bit of play in here, so as we go to mount this up against the van, that we're not struggling to get holes lined up and all of that. So it's just a 1/2 inch wrench. Now I'm going to do my inboard bracket like this. It's going to go on the outside or the rearward side of this built-in bracket right here. And for this, we're just going to use 2 bolts and nuts. Same type of deal over here. Again, the outboard bracket is going to go inside, and our inboard bracket is going to be outside. So again, just want plenty of play in all of these brackets so they're not struggling when we go to attach this underneath the van. So this is all the bench prep that we need to do. We're gonna go ahead and get underneath the van and get this attached. Because I'm a one-man show today, I'm just using a floor jack to lift this into place and line up these rocker panel brackets with the 2 studs that are right here. If you don't have the studs here, there's some vans that don't have these studs built into the rocker panel. If that's the case, what you want to do is drill some holes there and put in some plus nuts. I'm just going to get these snugly tight attached onto these studs so I can see if we have the holes on our frame. Now with the step kind of loosely attached to this rocker panel here, you want to see where this bracket lines up on the frame rail. Now there should, on some vans, there is a hole that exists right in between these 2 elongated holes right here. And ours doesn't have it. And so if yours is like that, you actually have to drill a hole so that we can thread a location to attach this to. So I'm gonna hold this up in place and make a mark on where we need to drill our hole. Okay. Same here on the rear part of the step. Some vans, there's a hole in the frame, kind of right where this cross member meets, right behind this little exhaust component right here. Should be a hole right there, but some of the vans don't have them like ours. So we need to figure out where to drill a hole. So we'll start over here with the hard one, which is going to be in the back because we do have this heat shield in the way. I'm going to move this hole towards the center of the frame. Now this is going to be an M10 threading, so we're going to go about an 8.5 millimeter bit. There we go. Now threading this is pretty straightforward. If you're a plumber, pipe fitter, maybe electrician, you do thread conduit and things like that. You know that oil is your friend, some cutting oil. And again, this is an M8 1.5, or excuse me, M10 by 1.5. And you want to keep this tap as straight as possible. And we're just going to, doesn't really take a ton of force to get this going. Just want to get a couple threads in. Then we back out. You get a little bit of a bite, then you reverse it. Get some of that metal out of the way. Go forward again. And now this is the smaller hex bolt in that kit. We're just going to test our threads out. That looks good. Now again, your transit may have a hole right here already, but it's not going to be threaded, so you're still going to have to thread that. Now, as you drill through this, there is kind of like a plating behind in the frame rail that makes this a little bit thicker so that we can thread it. And so in this case, we can just thread it. If you just had like a thinner piece of sheet, frame, you could use a plus nut in there as well to just secure the step bracket in that way. All right, for our forward bracket, you can kind of see right here what I'm talking about with that reinforced frame. There's almost like another plate of metal right here. And then in this hole, well, it's still in there, you just can't see it. But if you don't have that additional plate right there, that reinforcement, you're probably gonna wanna use a plus nut in the frame rail here and attach that way rather than doing your threads. You're just not gonna have very much metal to thread onto. So just take that into consideration. Same deal up here. This is going to be a bigger hole, so you may want to use a couple of different bits on this and slowly make your way through the frame. Now that we have the holes threaded in the frame, we're going to go ahead and bring our step back in place. We're going to reattach to these rocker panel studs, and then we're going to take our included bolts with a lock washer and a washer, go right into those threaded locations. Do the same thing up front. Next, we'll tighten up all of our locations up against the vehicle. We're going to tighten the remaining bolts that we have that connect our vehicle brackets to the actual step assembly. Okay, now that the step assembly is attached to the vehicle, the rest of the work is going to be kind of outside, not underneath the van, so good news there. We're going to attach our bracket to the door here because the door is actually what deploys this. You can see there's a linkage down here, and when you move this, it pulls the step out, and then when you shut the door, it's going to move this arm into the stowing position. So you can kind of test the step there. Sometimes you got to actually move that linkage to get it unlocked. And make sure that this is moving freely just to make sure you're not going to run into any issues later on. Like I mentioned, this is the side sliding door bracket. You can see there is a little bend right here in the top. This lines up with this little bend in the door right here. And so we're just going to get ready and mark up on the door where this is going to be. And to help protect the life of the door, I'm going to use some just blue painter's tape here to give us some protection. All right, next thing we're gonna do is take our bracket like this. Again, this crease lines up with this crease here in the van. And so we're gonna line it up in that way. And then we're also gonna make sure that this edge is about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge over here. 1/8 to 3/16 from that spot. And so we'll get this lined up. We're just gonna make some marks here where we need to put our holes. Now we're just gonna take a 1/4 inch drill and put some holes in those locations. Now I'll remove this tape. I'm gonna take a step bit and just deburr these a little bit. I'm gonna take some touch-up paint. There should be some included in your kit. Paint these holes in just to cover up that raw steel. It's gonna help prevent rust and corrosion and all that good stuff. Next, we can take our bracket. We've got a little button head screw like this with an Allen head on it. It's gonna go through here. Then on the back, we have a washer and a lock nut. All right, so this is the linkage bar that comes in the kit. This is going to attach your door bracket to the step module. You can tell this side specific because one kind of has this little ear on it and there's a little threaded location right there. The other one does not. So I put these bushings in already, but this is essentially how it goes. The plastic bushing, so there's kind of a milled or a countersunk side. That's the side that the metal part of the bushing is going to go in, and then on the other side is where your plastic bushing is going to go. You put your plastic on that side, metal, stick in through this side. That's how those get set in. This side attaches to the step, and there is a little stop bolt right here that we do need to install on here, and this is just a little Allen head bolt. Then we go ahead and attach this to our step. A good spot to install this is just basically we're gonna have clearance to fit a wrench under there and attach it. But you're gonna put a bolt through the bottom, and then you're gonna go through the bushing and then into this location under here. All right, so I've got that tight under there, completely tight, and this still moves freely so we know the bushing is attached correctly. Here, we're just going to move this. All right, now we have everything attached, and it's the moment of truth. When I shut this door, it better hide this step. I like that it kind of keeps the step out until the door's probably, what is that? Halfway shut, and then it starts to close it. So there are those cases where you just kind of open the door halfway up. To get out, you're still gonna have plenty of step there. All right, now that just about does it for the installation of this UpStep RS3 on our Ford Transit. If you're looking for this step or any other equipment to get your van or truck ready for work, be sure to check us out, upfitsupply.com. And my name is Ryan. Have a good one.